I remember the frost on the window that morning like it was trying to etch a message into the glass one I didn't quite understand at the time. The Morning Sun Cafe sat quietly on the corner of Main and Sycamore, same as it always had. Most mornings, you'd find me weaving between tables, refilling mugs with burnt coffee and asking about grandkids or the weather. But that morning wasn't like the others. That morning, I walked in with a blind German shepherd limping at my heel, and everything changed. His name was Max, or at least, that's what the tag on his tattered vest said. K9 retired blind. I'd found him the night before near the bus depot, curled under a bench with nothing but a torn vest and bones showing through his coat. He didn't bark, didn't whine, just listened, like he was still trying to serve some mission long after the world had forgotten him. So I brought him with me, set him up in the back corner with a bowl of water and the last 2 muffins from the day before. He wagged his tail once, slow and grateful. I didn't think much of it. I figured people might ask questions, but we were a small town. Folks respected veterans here, or at least, I thought they did. Didn't take long for the complaints to start. "This is a restaurant, not a kennel," a voice snapped from table 4. Some guy in a fleece vest with too much cologne and not enough compassion. "I can't eat my eggs next to a mangy stray." Before I could even open my mouth, I heard the unmistakable sound of rubber soles storming across linoleum. Grant, the manager, thin as a broomstick and just as flexible. He didn't ask questions. He pointed at Max and barked. "What the hell is that thing doing in my cafe, Linda? This isn't a petting zoo." I stood my ground. Told him Max wasn't just some dog. He'd served overseas. 3 tours. Afghanistan. IED detection. Saved lives. Now he was blind. Abandoned. He deserved peace. But Grant didn't care. "Health code violations don't care about your sob stories," he sneered. "Either the dog goes, or you do." Right then, I realized something ugly. Some people only respect uniforms when they're still pressed and walking upright. Once you're limping, or blind, or too broken to serve them coffee, you're just a burden. I thought that'd be the end of it. But Max had a different plan. The next morning, I brought him back anyway. I know I needed that job. But I couldn't leave him alone in my tiny apartment. He cried when I closed the door. He didn't understand he wasn't wanted. People noticed the moment we walked in. Table 3, a businessman with a Bluetooth headset permanently lodged in his ear groaned loud enough for the whole room to hear. "Again? Didn't they fire you yesterday? What's it gonna take?" A group of college kids in the corner had their phones out before I even made it to the kitchen. One of them, some punk in a hoodie and backward cap, started filming Max like he was a circus act. "This'll go viral," he laughed. "Blind, drooling ward dog, can't find the door. Tag it under Boomer Cafe drama." My hands were shaking. Max could tell. He started whining, just soft, low whimpers like he was apologizing for being too much trouble. That's when it all boiled over. Grant came out of the back, red-faced, already yelling. "Linda, you're done. You were done yesterday. Now you're trespassing. Take your dog and go. You're fired for real this time." And just like that, silence. I stood there in front of 30 people, all pretending not to look, all pretending they didn't care. I knelt beside Max, ran my hand along the ribs poking through his fur. "Come on, boy," I whispered. "We're not welcome here." And then the bell above the door rang. Boots. I remember the sound of boots first. Sharp, deliberate. I turned around and I swear to God, it felt like a scene from a movie. A convoy of soldiers, in full dress uniform, stepping inside the cafe one by one. The one in front, tall, clean-shaven, eyes like polished steel, walked straight up to me. "Are you Linda Carter?" he asked, voice calm but unmistakably in charge. "Yes," I said, barely able to breathe. He knelt beside Max. "And this is Max? K9 serial K45893? Retired explosive detection, 3rd Battalion." My heart stopped. "How do you know that?" "We've been looking for him. And we've been looking for you." By now, everyone in the cafe had their faces pressed to the glass. Phones down. Mouths open. The soldier, Captain Isaiah Blake, I later learned stood and faced the crowd. This dog saved lives. Real lives. Mine included. He found an IED in Kandahar 3 seconds before we walked into it. That decision gave me 20 extra years I didn't deserve. A female sergeant stepped forward, eyes red. He saved my convoy. I made it home to my little girl because of him. Another soldier barely older than the college kid still gripping his phone added. Max found 3 bombs in one patrol. Saved us all. Grant's face was pure panic. He stuttered something about not knowing, about policy and sanitation, but nobody was listening. Captain Blake raised his voice so the whole room could hear. This woman, he pointed at me, showed more courage and loyalty in 2 days than some of you have in your entire lives. While you were busy filming for TikTok, she was giving shelter to a hero. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small velvet box. Linda Carter, by order of the Department of Defense, you are hereby awarded the Civilian Service Medal for outstanding support of a retired military working dog. Gasps. Applause. Someone started crying. I think it was me. Max wagged his tail low but steady. The captain knelt and pinned a purple heart onto Max's vest, right above the old, frayed patch. You're not forgotten, old boy, he whispered. Not anymore. Then, the captain turned back to me. Also, ma'am, we have a job opening, if you're interested. The K-9 Veterans Transition Center could use someone with your heart. I stood there fired from my cafe job 15 minutes earlier, now holding a government medal and a new lease on life. Grant mumbled something about offering me my job back. I didn't even answer. Instead, I looked around the room, really looked at the customers who had stayed quiet, at the kid who had mocked Max, at the people who only cared once the cameras stopped rolling. My job, I said. It was never the job that mattered. It was who I was doing it for. I walked out into the cold with Max beside me, his tail wagging like maybe, just maybe, he finally felt seen. 6 months later, Max is the therapy dog at the K-9 Veterans Center. Blind, yes, but somehow he still knows when another dog's scared or lonely. He nudges them, sits beside them, tells them, in his own way, you're not alone anymore. And me? I'm home, for the first time in a long time. Funny how a discarded old dog helped me find my purpose. Funny how kindness, real kindness, is never wasted. So let me ask you something. If you had been sitting in that cafe, what would you have done? Would you have looked away? Or would you have stood up? Tell me in the comments. Tell me about a veteran who changed your life to a legged or 4. Let's remember what it means to serve, to see, to care. Because no heroine should ever be left behind.